One thing before we start the video, if you guys need a clan, join Screw the Stigma. I know I don't have a lot of RuneScape people watching my content, but if you wanted to join the game and wanted to go to a place where you know that you could get good advice and not have to worry about people messing with you, it's been a very good clan. They even have a Discord, and they're always willing to help, so if you need it, it's here. Hope you enjoy the video. Hello, this is Oatmeal here, and we're doing some Vindicta today. Now, I'm sure you guys have seen some of my videos talking about Legacy and how I'm kind of doing that. I've killed very few, actually, I think only the Chaos Elemental with Legacy, but now we're moving on to Vindicta because I've killed quite a few of these, 300. I've gotten a Crest of Zeros and a Dragon Rider Lance, only in duos sadly, but I got the drops, so that's kind of cool. But today we're going to focus on everything you need to do to basically do the most leisurely Vindicta you've ever done in your life. Now, Vindicta, if you've seen the drop rates, as you get reputation goes up, so you want to rotate Vindicta, and then like Hellweir. Vindicta, Hellweir, until you get 100% reputation, because obviously that's going to increase the amount of money you make from this a lot. But let's get started. So the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure you have 80 attack. That's definitely a requirement. And then you're going to want to head to the portal. Now to get kill count, I know people have their places and do their things, but my biggest worry is the multiplier. Using Legacy, if I don't hit in 4 or 5 hits, 5 if I'm being, a little bit sweaty, I lose my multiplier. So I like this area up here because you have access to a lot of Zeros creatures, which is what you want, and a lot of very little HP creatures. So if you're nearing the end, you know you're not going to kill something, you just hit one of those, and it keeps your multiplier going. But you look for Ancient Mages, Ancient Rangers, the sort, and keep trying to get multipliers. You can see like, oh, I'm worried I'm not going to get enough multiplier. Well, just, hit something. Because sometimes in Legacy you'll hit a Ranger, and because it's, the combat triangle, you don't do as much damage as you'd like to do, and you lose your multiplier. I use prayers here. You definitely don't have to, but it makes me not have to worry about anything. I just click and point, and then I tele back to the retreat to restore my prayer, and then run back in for the actual boss kill. So now that we've talked about kill count, let's get on to the inventory and the armor. I'd say the armor is probably more important. Do you need Virtus? No. Do you need Virtus to do the AFK method I'm talking about? Probably. It has pretty good defense comparatively, and the prayer bonus really does help. I use Crackling, Absorption, Lucky, and Biting on my perks for the advanced people. Now, I do want to start it with this. I was able to do 10 to 20 kill Vindicta trips with 43 regular prayers, the level 43 ones, like plus 6%, and pray melee or whatever. And because Blood Barrage heals you 10% with no cap in Legacy, it's still not that bad. So keep in mind, just because I'm telling you the best so that you don't have to eat at all while you're here, does not mean that this is the only way to do it. Now, one big thing I want to mention right away, this Gothic Staff, you do want to get this. It drops the boss's defense by, I believe, 10%. I use it twice in the boss fight, and we'll go through that later. It really does help get speedier kills. Overloads, if you have them, use them. I've done it without overloads, and it was perfectly fine. With overloads, it just gets even easier. The brews and the restores aren't necessary for this specific way of doing it, but I bring them for kind of emergency whatevers. The Unicorn Stallion I recently unlocked. You don't need it, but I like it. It's like occasionally, and if you've been to Vindicta, you know this, no matter how high your defense is, if you miss that range prayer, it's going to hit you for like a 400, which sometimes Soul Split takes a while to heal back on, so sometimes you want just a little bit of healing to get yourself more comfortable. Generally, even when they hit you for those big numbers, you recover your HP with this method. But it's nice to have a contingency plan so you don't have to be panic eating food, because that's what saves your costs here. You're using runes and Legacy, but you're not using these brews that cost 50k a piece. So definitely saves you in the long haul. With the armor, you can get away with subjugation. I have the Staff of Siliske. The Inquisitor staff would actually be a better pick here. It's got very high accuracy, and it's also nice for Legacy, because if you didn't know this, because it's a tier 80, and Blitz is a tier 80 spell, Blitz and Barrage do the same amount of damage with the Inquisitor staff. However, with my staff, I have to use Blood Barrage. Siliske's is way more expensive, costs 4 mil to repair instead of 2. So you can definitely do this. I've done this with the Noxious staff too, and it was perfectly fine. But if you're using the Inquisitors, you save money on blood runes, and yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. I just don't like having a staff I can only use at one boss. It was kind of annoying when I started putting on augments with stuff. I'd rather have something I can take anywhere. So once you get here, you step through the portal, do all the things. I do fastest because you already don't get an insane amount of kills per hour. Might as well try to get the most you can, and that's something I want to talk about too. I have duoed a lot of this boss, and it's been with a friend that is wearing nearly the exact same thing I am, if not Inquisitors. It speeds up the kills drastically. You gotta realize the longest wait times are this dude flying around because he's doing his, interphase thing. If you can speed that up and make him do that less, you get triple the kills per hour. So that's an important thing to realize when you're doing Vindicta, is if you want really good drops here, speed is definitely going to be your friend. So I'm going to summon the Unicorn Stallion. Oh, excuse me. Go ahead and get some Overload sipped, some Prayer Renewal. Pass through the barrier, and then activate Penance. Now, I also want to use my Gothic Staff spec immediately, and it's very accurate. It hits almost every single time, and you can see it lowered their defense and lowered their defense stat. So you'll see this go away mid-fight, and that's when you want to reapply it. So this is phase 1. I want to talk about what you can see, right? So you can see him whacking, you can see him whacking, he whacks again. He should be spinning on the next one. Yep. He's going to whack you again, and then he's going to take a really, really long pause between that whack. When you see the long pause, you wait for this one, cast your next spell, and then run for your life. That should help you avoid the fires if you really, really want to be consistent with your HP. However, more healing with Penance the better, because that way you don't have to worry about prayer potions this entire time. So kind of depends on how you want to do it, but me, I don't know. It's not that big of a deal to me. He whacks again, and then we run. And this is where he's going to switch. At 10,000 HP, he's going into his next form. You can see the little defense thing went away on their health bar down here, their buffs, and I reapplied it. Now, this one's really easy. You want to soul split for the vast majority of it, because mage armor is strong to melee. You want to try to run diagonally or straight forward from this, but once you see the sword hit, oh, you don't see it. So sometimes if it has to take an angled path to get to you, it'll skip the melee hit, but you want to pray for the range hit for sure. When it hits mage armor, it hits very strong. So you want to heal up, you get the melee hit there, get the range hit, and then back to soul split to keep healing. It'll give you 3 hits, melee, range, melee, and then it'll have a pause and fly up into the air. And that's really Vindicta's second phase, but you can see how massive the numbers I'm hitting are. I compare this to some people doing EOC, and it's funny how close my time is to theirs. It's obviously a little bit less, because I still don't even have everything in the game. Like, I'm competing against people with Ripper Demons. Which, speaking of, if you have a Ripper Demon familiar, bring it here. I use the healing thing, but you can see I'm max HP. I don't really need that. That's kind of just for me to relax. But if I had something like the Ripper Demon able to rip this boss to shreds, you better believe I'd be bringing it, because that is a very, very powerful tool. Once I do unlock Ripper Demons, I'm probably going to bring them everywhere I go, because that DPS is so important when you're soloing. And that's the thing. This isn't like God Wars Dungeon 1. I believe it's 1 in 76 to get a rare drop there. So if I go to Arma for an hour-long trip, I can kill about 65 to 70 Kree with the SGB. However, at Vindicta, I can kill maybe 20 of these an hour. These are like QBD kills. They are not fast. And when you're talking about a drop rate at 0 reputation that is like a 1 in 380 something, I believe it is, you want to get that reputation and get the drop chance increase, and you also really, really, really want to try to maximize your time. And that's the thing. If you duo this boss, you are going to have a very fun time because it is going to be relaxing. When we were duoing this together, I believe on second phase, or first phase, that little thing where he goes through the 4 animations or whatever and then drops down the fire, he was only able to do that once, almost every single time. So having that extra bit of, power behind you should tell you how much time you actually save. But if you want to solo it, you absolutely can with very little effort. You just kind of have to do the range prayer. And you can watch, I'm going to show you without the range prayer, right? So I'm just going to blood barrage. Literally the only part that's not AFK is you dodging fires. Blood barrage. He's going to hit me with range. Ouch, that's a big number. And then within about 2 to 3 hits, I'm at full HP again. So really it's for when it hits those random 400s in range and you start the kill off with, half HP or something, didn't get to heal enough. It's when that kind of stacks up with the melee hits that hit big every now and again that make you uncomfortable. That's the only reason I say range prayer, but you could literally be this AFK. You don't have to change prayers. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Usually when you get to the half HP mark, it's like, oh crap, I gotta start the kill with this little HP. Yeah, you do. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but that's why you'd like to dodge the range hits, because they don't look like they do a lot, but when you start stacking up the other damage that you normally heal through, it can add up pretty quick. But just in those 2 drops, I've gotten 400k. I assure you, that pays for any divine charges you use here, any equipment repairing, anything. And whatever you get as a rare drop past this point is just money in the bank. So this is a really good boss. If you were ever looking for one that was like, oh man, I want to do Legacy, I want to try it out and, kind of just chill and enjoy myself, if there was ever a boss, this is the one. This is the one where you can really just grind and, have the ability to get a 50 mil item. Like, I was doing QBD, and it's an awesome boss. Lancidimes are still worth a lot, so are Onyx Bolt Tips because they're out price, and, she drops Dragon Bones and stuff like that, but it's still about the same base drops as Vindicta, about the same kill time, about the same amount of effort, and there's no rare drop available for someone like QBD. It's like, you get a Dragonic Visage, ooh, 1.1 mil, This guy drops a 45 mil weapon. So, you have a lot of chances to get those big ticket items. That's why I love Vindicta so much, and I know that's why everybody else does too, because this really is a boss that you can grind for a long time and be very successful. And honestly, a lot of the people that came up in RuneScape and got these nice weapons, like, Staff of Siliske, that didn't gamble like a degenerate like me, those people grinded at Vindicta. A lot of friends will tell me, even though Raksha is the most profitable boss they've ever had, Vindicta's a close second, if not, one of the best. A lot of people said this is what made their bank. So if you're in RS3 and you feel a bit newbie and you don't know which boss you have the capability of taking on, I hope this little guide, kind of a vague guide, opened your eyes to how easy some of these bosses can be. You don't have to go through a bunch of stuff, get a bunch of different abilities that make you hit certain things. You could just come here with blood spells and relax. I've done this with melee too. It's not as fun because you run around more, so it adds more to your time. And I've done this with range, but it's okay. I've noticed mage is just the best. If you want to relax, enjoy this, and not have to worry about your HP as much, yeah, definitely bring some blood spells here. But I'm going to keep grinding this boss, and yeah, let me know if you guys like this guide. I can make a more in-depth version for other bosses if you want me to, but just give me your thoughts below. Appreciate you watching, and I'll see you